What's going on, everybody? It's Kanye. In today's video, we're going to be doing the best lockdown for NBA2K23. Now, current gen, next gen have the same builders, so if you're worried about what game this is for, you don't have to worry anymore. I will say the badges are slightly different with tiers in next gen, and I think current gen is still just similar, just the standard badge stuff. But regardless, you can see how the attributes are laid out. We're going to be making a lockdown today. Please don't hesitate to like and subscribe, and let's get started. So, position's going to be a small forward. When we look at the body settings here, we're going to have a 6'7", 215, 7'3" wingspan. And the reason I went with a higher wingspan is because it does not affect your ball handle as long as you're 6'10" or below. So might as well make that big wingspan, right? Help you defensively. When we get into the attributes here, got a 70 close shot, 72 driving layup, 76 driving dunk, and a 32 standing dunk, which I believe just came up because of these. 12 finishing badges there, so solid, solid finishing badges. Definitely our weakest point of the build, but let's get into the rest of it. We got 79 mid-range, 85 3-point, 77 free throw for 22 shooting. We got 80 pass ac, 90 ball handle, 80 speed with ball for 22 playmaking, and then we've got a 74 interior defense, 87 perimeter, 86 steal, 81 block, 70 defensive rebound for 21 defensive badges. Then for our physicals, we got an 83 speed, 79 acceleration, 82 vertical, and 90 stamina. Now, I know what you're thinking, this is supposed to be a lockdown build. Why has it got so much playmaking? My thought process is, right, you could easily go ahead and max out your perimeter defense and your steal. You would get hardly any more badges for it, and your build would get far worse because you'd be a lot weaker in other areas. Same with your shooting, right? We could go ahead and max out the mid-range and three-pointer up a little bit higher, get that free throw all the way up if you wanted to, but you're not gonna get hardly any more badges, if any at all, and you're gonna lose out on upgrading other areas. One thing I will say is if you don't want as much playmaking, you'd rather have more on the finishing side, I totally support that, because if you're an off-ball player, that's fine. The reason I made this build this way is because you can operate as the one. This would be a really good twos build because you can guard ball, but you can operate as the one. Also in threes, though, you can still guard the ball, but you can also operate as a secondary ball handler, and it's great in fives because you can play any part of a zone. You can play man on anybody. You got interior and exterior defense, so interior and perimeter defense, so you can guard any part of the game, but you can also handle the ball, shoot, and finish a little bit. So it's a good, well-rounded lockdown build. A lot of people I've seen that put lockdown builds out so far, they're maxing the green and the red, and it's really limited in other areas. And I just think, there's a need to kind of break that stereotype for we need a play shot, we need a 3-and-D wing, and we need a big. Like, I think we got to get away from that if we want to keep seeing this game progress. So I wanted to bring y'all something like this. I think it's going to be just as good as a green-red lock would be, just with the added ability to handle the ball really well. And what's wrong with that, right? So this is also for you locks that if you're tired of sitting in the corner, you want to be able to get a little saucy with it on the side, because I know how that is. Either way, we got this here. Let's go ahead and look at our takeovers. So now, since I didn't max out my perimeter defensive stats, I went ahead and went with extreme clamps for the primary takeover. From what I could tell in the few twos games I played, you can get your primary takeover relatively quickly. Secondary takeover is a different story. I've also noticed you can get team takeover really fast. So I'm still trying to figure out exactly what causes that, but takeovers are actually relatively easy to get, so make sure your primary takeover is something you're going to want to use frequently. So that's why I went with extreme clamps. Secondary takeover went with limitless range, just to kind of open up the court a little bit. Figured it'd work good for a lock, a 3-and-D build. So there we have it. Now, what I love about this, normally you expect like 3-level score, 3-and-D wing, perimeter lock, something like that. But I got a very unique build here. It's OG Anunoby, Paul George, Gerald Wallace, and it's named after one of my favorite style of builds. A point forward, we got a two-way 3-point forward. So we got a super rare build name, super unique build name. People are going to see this when you're walking up on them. They're going to be checking your build to see what you can do. And, people are going to want to make this build. And I've already made it. I think it's going to be, a really solid build. I've got to get all the badges on it, obviously, and that's going to be a grind and a half. We all know how that is. But this is something I highly recommend. Something I do want to point out to y'all, and I didn't make a note of this in the first video, but you can get rebirth relatively quickly in 2K. So all you have to do is have a build at 65 overall, and you got to go find Ronnie 2K somewhere in the park. And when you do that, you get the rebirth unlocked, which again, 90 overall cap now, and other things as well. Another thing I want to point out to y'all that I didn't mention in the first video. If you play enough My Career games, there is an opportunity to get 4 extra badge points to put on your build. So if you're making a build and you're trying to get 1 extra badge point in one category, but you don't want to sacrifice other ones in another place, fear not, you get 4 extra badge points once you play so far into the My Career storyline. So I highly recommend on every build you play on, before you go online with it, play a few games in the My Career storyline and go ahead and get your extra badges and then start running, because you'll have 4 badges to begin with and you can put them in any category. So you could go ahead and be already hitting threes at a much higher rate than everybody else. Or you could be handling the ball at a much higher rate than everybody else. Or you'd be finishing, playing defense, all that stuff. So highly recommend you get through that and you do that. But I hope y'all like the build. Let's real quick, I'm going to show you how I'd put the badges on this thing. First things first, for the finishing, I'm going to go ahead and let you know the finishing badge options aren't the best, but here's how I would lay them out. We're going to go ahead and we're going to do, Acrobat. We're going to do Gold Giant Slayer. We're going to do Bronze Aerial Wizard, Bronze Fearless Finisher. Actually, let's take Aerial Wizard off because I'd rather have Masher. And we've got 2 left. So I would put one on like something like, maybe you could do something like Back Down Punisher. If you want to go into post fades and things like that, since we do have that shooting ability. You could also do something for like Rise Up, just so when you're under the rim, you have a better chance of like, just finishing at the rim. We don't have a standing dunk. That being said, this still might be able to help you get those like under the basket, finishes. And it may be somewhere it's glitched, because I know before sometimes if you make a build tall enough, even if you don't have the standing dunk up very high, you'll still get the animations. Now for shooting, we have a lot more options here. Another thing I want to point out, this build's 6'7", and the point guard build I made in my first build. If you haven't seen that yet, please go check that out. It's a 6'8" point guard, and we can see here that the badges already move around a little bit differently based on height and things like that. So where this build's 6'7", I think that's what puts the Space Creator badge up into tier 2, because it was a tier 1 badge for my point guard. That's another thing I want to point out. The badges are not adjusted on tiers near as much based on position as they are on height. Your height is truly what's going to move them around the most. So be aware of that as you're making your builds if you want certain badges to be cheaper. Now, if this build's running as the primary guard, you're definitely going to want something like Space Creator, on silver. You might want something like Catch and Shoot, because if you are off ball, if you're the secondary ball handler, you're going to want something like Catch and Shoot. Go ahead and throw that on silver. Another good one that I think is going to be overlooked is Guard Up. I think that's going to be a good build. I think it's just going to good badge is going to boost open shots. So like, why not? If you're going to be a primary ball handler, something like Amped would be good, because it's going to allow you to shoot shots when fatigued. So that's definitely something to look into. Now for our tier 3 badges, I think you go ahead and go Limitless Range on silver. You are, goodness gracious, I backed out of it. Sorry, I'm gonna go through this. You already saw what the finishing badges were. I'm so sorry. This thing is touchy, man. So like, I've made that mistake when I was in the builder when the game first came out at midnight. It's 6:45 as I'm recording this. I've been on for this for 6 hours. I'm about to start streaming at like an hour or so. So like, I am barely moving, man. But basically, what I was getting ready to say is, this build is real touchy. So if you hit back one too many times, it just completely kicks you out of everything. It doesn't ask if you want to. It just does it. So kind of screws you over. Anyway, I just did it again. Oh my gosh. Okay. This time for sure. Okay. Let me go through this. I already knew how I had it all set up. It's fine. Don't ask questions. It's all good. You didn't see anything. All right, we're good. So now I got Limitless Range on silver. I got 4 badges left, but let's go ahead and core badge this. So now we got 10 left. Deadeye Blinders, Agent 3s. If you're going to be catch and shoot, I'd recommend Deadeye or Blinders, but Agent 3s if you're going to be off the dribble. Again, adjust these how you will, how you're planning on playing this build. If you want to use it as a OG lock, you're going to be catch and shoot, Blinders, Deadeye, Corner Specialist, Claymore, things like that. But if you want to be dribbling with it, Space Creator, Agent 3s, and different things like that, you definitely have options. And you're going to see we got 4 badges left, so let's go ahead and just throw Green Machine on silver, and that's going to be our shooting badges. Now for playmaking, Ankle Breaker on Hall of Fame is just like, for 4 badges, that's a steal, right? Quick First Step on Hall of Fame is a must. Bailout, I'm going to say put it on bronze. You might not need it necessarily, but it's something I like to run. Actually, let's go ahead and take it off for now. I don't want to core it. Oh my gosh. We'll go ahead and take that off for now, because I do want us to get our handles for days, and I want us to get our killer combos. Actually, let's take handles for days off, because I want to go ahead and get killer combos, and then I want to core it. And then what we can do is we can throw on handles for days on silver. We can throw Clamp Breaker on silver. You probably will need Unpluckable as people upgrade. They're stealing stuff, so maybe you take Clamp Breaker and you take it down to bronze, and you take ankle breaker off because you don't necessarily need it. You just take it off all the way. You got 5 left. Throw your unpluckable. Well, no, because we need the 10 badges, don't we? So yeah, you're definitely gonna have to make some adjustments. Killer combos, I guess you could knock down to silver. You know, there's definitely gonna be things you can do, right? So the whole big thing is about getting the badges you want, and this system is still really intricate. So bear with me because I'm still trying to figure out, you know, the best way to lay things out. Gosh, I did it again. But either way, so here's how we had it at the end, because I keep backing out of things. And I'll be honest with you, this is the third time going through this video because I kept doing this back out thing, but I've finally given up. So you just bear with me as I finish this out. So here's what I've got, right? This is what I have. I'm not going to hit the circle button to back out of this. This is what I have. I recommend getting Unpluckable later on in the year, but early on, you probably don't need it because dudes aren't going to have all that stuff upgraded. Lastly, for our defense and rebounding badges, we definitely want, you know, Pick Dodger, gold. That's just a cheap badge. You definitely want something like Minish. I would throw it on silver. Ankle braces, throw it on, you know, let's see, how many do we need? 3 more to get to 10. So now we've got 10, so we got 11 badges left. Throw clamps on silver, and we'll go ahead and core it. And then you can throw glove on bronze, and you can throw interceptor on silver. Or no, not interceptor. Throw challenger on silver. And then I would actually probably take off glove and put it on interceptor. If you're off ball, if you're on ball, throw it on glove. It's going to allow you to pickpocket ball handlers. Clamps is obviously clamps. We've seen it for years now. And then challenger is going to be a really good badge in terms of contesting shots. So this is definitely how I'd lay out those defensive badges. Again, this build's a really good all-around build. We've got a super unique name, and I think it's just going to be a fun build to play on. If y'all try it out, please let me know. And if you think the badges should be laid out differently, by all means, I'm still learning. So just stick with me on it. But I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.